little chubby little kid on the album cover decided he was gonna be a rapper, and along with making that happen along the way, the journey and people that poured into him is an amazing story. So if you ever want to be hope filled and you want to return to the church how I have in terms of music and methodology, this is an album you want to be playing. You know.
I love that. I love that. And, you know, Killer Mike, one of the many things that I love about the work that you do is your awareness of our power as Black people,
Absolutely.
especially when it comes to entrepreneurship.
Yep.
So in an age where so many of us find value in affiliation, what can we do to shift our perspective about ownership versus affiliation?
Man, I'm going to tell you this, because, you know, I know it's a lot of people charging you a lot of money to be your mentors online. Mentors don't charge. Consultants do. And if you get a consultant, you better get some results at the end of your tenure. I am why I am in terms of independence and in terms of being financially taking care of yourself and your coin, because my great-grandparents, who I knew were, I got the deed a few weeks ago that my great-grandparents signed in 1948 for the 30-something acre farm that we still own, that we still have in my family today. The houses that my grandparents own, we still own. I just bought my daughter a house in the same community, and I say that because as a working person, as an average person, your first and greatest piece of wealth is going to be home ownership. And we need to be fixing ourselves, especially if I'm thinking hyper locally on Atlanta's west side. People need to be repatriating Atlanta's west side. As people come here and move from other places, they're going to say, wow, I want to live there. You should be living there. I talked to a man on Edgewood Avenue where I own a business. Mr. John said, years from now, they're going to come tell you white folks took all this from us. Wow. And that's not true. And you stand up in a room and you tell them that the people who own these businesses, their children thought that they had outgrown them and become better than them. And they sold for cheap. And that hit me. And it helped me understand that what my great-grandparents did can only be honored if I take care of that land. What my grandparents worked for can only be honored if I take care of those homes. And what I'm trying to leave for my grandchildren is a legacy through home ownership, real estate development, business, like Bankhead Seafoods, things like Greenwood in terms of just being financially taking care of oneself. I'm trying to leave a legacy that'll inspire my grandchildren and great-grandchildren to do the same thing my great-grandparents inspired me to.
Wow, that's inspiring.
That's
Shouts out Tuskegee, Alabama.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now. You put knowledge out there, man.
I don't have any thoughts. I'm just staying out of white folk business. I don't have no thoughts. I wish Ruth Ginsburg would have retired. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I wish she would have retired and let someone. You know, unfortunately, she did not. And the guy we got in there, Clarence, didn't think. Walt T. Williams was interesting too. Walt T. Williams was a black economist who was a conservative. He was about segregation on one issue. He believed you should be married a black woman. He was like, don't be marrying outside your race. But he also benefited from affirmative action through the GI Bill, but he overall was not a supporter of it. So we'll see how it goes. I don't really know what's going to happen next. I know in the past, during the 90s, when black speakers would speak to us, they would say the number one people that had profited from affirmative action was white women.
Yeah.
That was always a mythology that was held. So, you know, if it's truly been taken away, does it truly hurt us? How much does it truly hurt us? Will it now send that talent that we were sending to MITs and Harvards and Yale? Will it now send it back to Morehouse, Spelman, Howard, Hampton? So we have to, you know, there's a folklore that says a farmer, you know, one of his animals died. And they said, well, that's so bad. I said, well, I don't know if it's good or bad. And then his son got handicapped trying to handle. And they said, well, is that good or bad? Well, his son could have got sent to war, but because he's handicapped, he didn't. His son got to stay home. So we don't know if it's good or bad yet. What I know is black people have always managed to excel in spite of the opposite. So I want to tell black children out there, at the same time affirmative action is being taken away nationally, in Georgia, your Republican governor, who a lot of us didn't vote for, a lot of us didn't like, he just brought back the Hope Scholarship where you can get your tuition taken care of. So study.
My child took advantage of that.
Good grades. Take your butt to a state school for free because of your brain capacity. So there's always find a way or make a way.
Yeah.
There's always some wiggle room in there for us. So although I'm never happy to see things that advance us reversed, the question becomes, did it really advance us according to our leaders?
Right.
Because they said white women profited more. The question becomes, based on self-reliance and hard work, do our children have a shot? Well, with the return of the Hope Scholarship, our children do have a shot. You know, so we have there are no friends in politics. They're only allies, and allies are not permanent; they're temporary. So, you know, on one hand, I'm very sad to see something go that has helped some of us, even the people who voted against it, and Mr. Thomas. But I'm also very sad to see something return, even if it's under a Republican tenure, like the Georgia Hope Scholarship, because it gives opportunity to so many brilliant children who go into public schools to have an opportunity to go to state schools for free.
Yeah, yeah, and I love how you're willing to cross party lines, because you actually sat down and had a conversation with the governor of
conversation with anybody.
If it benefits black people.
I talked to Antonio Lewis. I'm not even in this district, but he's a city council person that's active. I talked to him. I make sure I talk to Byron. I make sure I talk to Michael Julian Bond. I make sure I talk to our mayor. I talk to Courtney, who's next to him. I talk to Obi. And I talk to the governor as well. Any time my tax dollars are going out, then I have to advocate. I advocated against the gang enhancement rule. The governor gave me seating with his staff. There was one brother from his staff in the room afterwards. The brother said, "Hey, man, you made a hell of a presentation.
Yeah.
You know, you really gave time." Now, unfortunately, the governor did sign it. And we see that rule, to me, is not going to be good for young boys who made the mishap of joining gangs. But pivoted right to prosecutors to say, hey, prosecutors, you don't have to pick this up as an option. So whereas in I win some, I lose some, you know, and that's like that on every level. There are things in the city I want to see. Sometimes the city council and mayor's like, okay, we see it. Sometimes they shrug their shoulders and say, we're not going for that one.
Yeah.
So I just try my best to be a constituent that's involved. Whoever wins the office, the next day I want to have conversation in the audience with them.
Yeah. Man, talk about setting an example. Thank you so
Come
much
on,
for that.
man.
Yes.
I mean, at least you're doing something. You're actively out here doing something. You're not just
man.
talking.
That's
You're actually doing.
I want to be smoking weed, hanging in the blue fly.
Man.
I ain't gonna lie. Y'all
You
know
putting
I
in
was-
work though, Mike. You
man,
putting
but
in work,
Miss
man.
Miss Betty Cluntz, my grandmother. She from the time I was 5 years old, we worked Andy's campaign. She kept me, and to this day, my sister's now on election day. Hey, you up yet? Have you went and voted? You know, you have to. So for me, it's about what would my grandmother have done, and am I leading a life she would have been proud of?
Wow.
So in matters of staying politically active, that is definitely because of Betty.
Yeah. And that's how we honor our ancestors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's your new single right here. Don't let the devil. Y'all give it up and show you. Like, real quick, let everybody know how they can follow you.
Well, man, just Killer Mike on all social platforms. This Don't Let the Devil is off the Michael album. It's me and LP, but I encourage y'all to listen to that Scientists and Engineers as well with me, Dre, and Future. I think that's the one the public is calling to get on radio. And we got a clean version if y'all want, so I'll make sure y'all get it sooner than later.
There it is, y'all. One time for Killer Mike.
Woo!